Thanks for coming, and thanks for basically bringing us all up to speed on the glass that we're not going to be able to afford at some point in time. We've got 3 different couples, individuals that are going to present based on what we saw at the mega convention, where they basically did roundtables. Seemed like a good idea to sort of do more mini seminars, and so that's what we're trying this year. I think it's going to be great. We've got a collective 150 years of experience. It's going to be up here. I'll let you determine who's got the most in that experience. And maybe it's not a full 150 years, it's pretty freaking close. But anyways, I'm going to read the title. You know these people for the most part. Great collectors, good friends, and in some cases, people that we have bid and lost to, for sure. So obviously, the first off, Randy. Bernice said she's not going to get up here and do the Vanna thing, but Randy's going to talk to us about mugs. His title is Mugs, the Ones That Got Away. So we'll let you go through on that one. Then Diane and Sylvester out in the wild. And then Pat is going to come up here along with hopefully Joan, maybe not. And basically, his basically is stretch. Hard to find glass. I don't know what he's talking about because they're right here. I don't know what's so freaking hard about that. They're right here. So anyways, thank you in advance for the people that are presenting. It's great to have you do this and great for us to see some of this glass.
When Bob asked me to do this program, I didn't realize he wanted me to talk on the glass, so I'm just going to open it for questions. I'm going to start off with the Dugan patterns, if I can remember which one they are. Let's go with beaded shell. This one is the blue beaded shell, and they're kind of hard to find. Marigold, and probably the scarcest is going to be the white. Usually I can't find a good white mug. I've got white in the singing birds and the orange tree, but I would like to update those, but I haven't got one that I like yet. So beaded shell, and then we'll go to the fisherman's. Blue, no. This is the black amethyst. And marigold. I've heard people say that the backs were left undecorated because they put advertising and stuff on them. This one, when I bought it, had a souvenir of somewhere, but when I washed it, that went away. And these are the peach opal. And then stork and rushes. This is the amber. The aqua.
Oh, yeah.
And the scarcer of them is going to probably be the blue. And they're only in the lattice band. You don't see them with the beaded band on them. And then heron. This is purple, dark purple. And you don't think of it marigold being rare, but in this mug, the marigold is the hardest one to find. Then we'll go to fitting. This is an amber. Fenton had two variations on their mugs. The shaving mug, this is an aqua, and then the standard mug.
What color is that?
Amberina.
Amberini?
Amberina.
Okay.
And the variation on them is the shaving mug is a 3-inch base. The standards are 2.5. And you can find flared tops in both the standard and the shaving mug size. This one is I like that one. That's a black amethyst. The blue. And then the green. The green is going to be a harder color to find too. So. And this one is a red, just a red. It might have a little bit of swirl in it. And this one is a red slag. And a lot of times the auctioneers, they'll call something slag when it's really just a little bit of swirl in it. But this is an actual slag. I mean, it's opaque. I call this a sapphire, and it doesn't have a very good mold mark on it, but Pat told me I can't call it sapphire because it's Fenton. but it's not aqua. It's a sapphire color on that. So. This one's a Vaseline. And then the white. White is probably the hardest one to find, except for the aqua opal. There was an aqua opal sold here a while back.
Why are the whites rare?
I don't really know, but it Fenton, I mean, in the orange tree pattern, it just happens to be that the white is hard to find. I know it's like on the punch bowls. The white punch bowl is harder to find than anything. Aqua opalescent sold here the other day, not too long ago. It was Reg Dunham's. I think I got one bid in on it before it went for over $4,000. So it's the only one known, but I can't imagine why they would just make one color, you know, one of that. And then this is yellow, and I want to say something about this. The yellow are going to iridize or glow orange. And you get that, whereas the Vaselines are going to be a bright green. But you get that, you can't really see that very good, but it's where they were going to make red, but they didn't get it hot enough for the temperatures, I don't think. That's just a red one. But
So that whole top row is orange tree?
yes. The amber will not glow, but the amberina does glow. And that's how I tell yellow glass anyway on the base glass on it. We'll go to Northwood. This is aqua. It has no opal in it at all. And I think that's probably the only true aqua one that there is, but this is,
The pattern on that?
oh, I'm sorry, that's dandelion. Dandelion aqua opalescent. And then this is the opalescent with butterscotch finish on it. And I got that out of the Winnie Brim auction. I don't know if you guys remember Winnie, but she was about this tall. Yeah. She made fantastic cookies and candies for Air Capital. Blue is a little tougher color to find, and green's a little tough. Now, singing birds. Aqua opalescent. The Sages have one in their auction, and I'd appreciate it if none of you would bid on it.
You've already got one. You don't have to.
No, that theirs puts this one to shame. Marigold. I neglected to say I've got 66 different vintage tumblers, and you're lucky I didn't bring all of them.
Not tumblers.
Mugs. Yeah, I got 200 tumblers. And then club souvenirs on the mugs, I've got 32 of them. So. The white singing birds, I'd like to update that one. And then we get to the variation on the singing birds. This one's the green, and it's stippled singing birds. Marigold. And then I bought this, and the auctioneer called it. I was getting ready to dance. The auctioneer called it a Reniger, but Jim Rhoda was telling me that Reniger glows under black light, and this does not glow under black light. So anyway, there's a gap here, and that gets us to where the ones that got away. And I bought 2 rare mugs from an auctioneer. And this is the way the box came. Split down both sides, and then taped across the front here. And when I opened it up, there was supposed to be 2 mugs in there. The only mug that was left was the blue fisherman's mug, which is the rarest one of that pattern. And the other one wasn't in there. And it was the amethyst stippled singing birds. And as far as I'm concerned, that amethyst is probably going to be the rarest on the stippled mugs. And I'll probably never get another chance to get one of those. It's a good question. So I don't know whether somebody used this as a football or somebody wanted to see what was in it or what, but I would much rather that I lost the blue fisherman's than I did the
One you got
cost more.
Yeah, it did. But I could get another blue one. It's the amethyst that I'll never see again, probably. So
Any compensation back or whatever?
yeah, it paid off pretty good. So. No, insurance paid off.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Got it.
But anyway, these things are small. My glass is made to be picked up, so pick up any of these you want to and look at them. That's fine with me. So.
Randy, the shaving mug and the regular mug, is there a distinctive, easy advantage for us when we're out looking to know which one is which, or is it one of those buyer, whoever owns it calls it?
No, it's 3 inches on, that's the only way, is on the base. 3 inches on the base is the shaving mug and 2.5 is this. But if you get them in your hand, I mean, there's no comparison on them. So.
And did they make shaving mugs in pretty much all the patterns, or is it just a few that they decided they were going to do that with?
Oh, in all the patterns?
Yeah, so you've got all these patterns up there. They also have
No,
shaving mugs?
no, just the orange tree have the shaving mugs in them.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, that's my part.
Well, those of you who don't know us, Sylvester and Diane Wallach, and something that some of you might not know is that no one ever told us that there were auctions, that there were clubs, that there was a way to get glass that way until we retired. We've been collecting all of our lives, but it was 99 before we retired, and I went online and I found Carnival Glass. And that was when I realized that there was someplace else besides out in the wild. That's all what we have here today then, is what we have found in the wild since we realized there were Carnival Glass Clubs and auctions, okay? So the first thing that we found that we're going to talk about is
Go ahead and pull it.
this lamp. It came with the lampshade already attached in a little bitty town called Glen Flora. If you've never been to Texas, there's lots of little bitty towns. If you think we're not kind of wild and stretched out, it's right down the road from Egypt. So you can figure out where it is. This is a Marigold New Art lampshade, and the mold maker was dyslexic because the R is backwards.
It's written right here.
Yeah.
And I suppose that those stoppers, the metal stampers,
Uh-huh.
I own the one that has the good R and the one that has the bad R.
And they broke them? Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, you own them. I beg your pardon, I misunderstood you. Well, good for you. Well, this is what's come from one of them.
Yeah.
And that was in the beginning of 2000. About a year later, we found our very, very first plate. Out of all the stuff we had had all that time, we had never had a plate. In a little bitty local country auction in Yoakum, we bought it and then took it to a convention, and there was a color collector there, and he didn't have a lavender, and he wanted it, but we didn't sell it, and we haven't sold anything since. Okay? The next thing that we have up here is an amethyst grape and cable variant plate by Northwood. We were on our way to Oklahoma one time, because that's my original home, and stopped at a little bitty town again called West. You all may remember it because of the explosion there. There was Molly B's that was on the side of the road. And a lot of you probably have been there, and I had to get down on my knees in a display and take all the bowls out before I got down to that on the very bottom. And we gave a program in Victoria, Texas, to a old car collectors club, and we were telling this story, and this lady over here said, "That was my store." So they not only had an antique store, they also was an old car collector. So we have stories. That's what we're doing. We're telling stories, okay?
Yes.
You pitch in?
Yep.
The next one is from '03. The the Marigold White Oak tumbler. I was back home again with family, walking, talking, and me talking, can you imagine? And I bypassed that on the bottom of a shelf, and Sylvester came along behind me and picked it up, of course. And we took it then to a quarterly meeting, and Floyd Whitley, when I told him we found it and that we got it so cheaply, he nearly had a conniption. He said he had to crawl under a house in order to get Cecil one. So, well, Pete Bingham thinks so, if you all will give me that admission, because it has the same background that the pipe humidors. He felt like that it was Millersburg, but it's not in any of the books per se that it is. I'm sorry?
I was wondering where Castor was. You might have.
Oh, where is he? Oh. The next thing that I wanted to show you were these little individual salts here. Tiny, tiny. There was a flood in Houston. Suddenly the show had to be moved. It moved down 59 until it got to Inez, Texas. There's another one of those towns, okay? And so in a dance hall, we found these little salts. I showed them to Frank Fenton at a convention, and he said they were old, maybe Westmoreland, but he wasn't sure. But if you look at them close, the feet on them are like the hat pin holders, which I think is interesting. And they're sapphire. I don't know if you could see that.
Which hat pin holders?
Well, that have feet. I don't know. I'm not that good. See?
You can see the,
Orange tree and feet, great potato tree.
They all have feet.
I'm not
They
sure.
all have feet. I have feet. You have feet. All God's children. In '06, we were going to Florida to a convention and got off the road. Can't imagine that, you know. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, I'm telling the wrong story. There's a show in Rosenberg that's twice a year. Some of you go. There's one big building that is all glass. Not much of it carnival, but it's all glass. The other side is a lot of everything else. And there was a guy who was there set up. He had only furniture. And in the middle of a big table was that white punch bowl. Grape table, white, small size, okay?
I must have missed that show.
You must have. You must have. And I was talking to him because I wanted it immediately, you know. But he did not have an antique shop. He just went to shows with his furniture. And so he said, he had a knock at the door. And it was a carload of people who were running from Katrina. And they needed gas money.
He was from Louisiana.
He was from Louisiana, and he bought, they called it Grandma's Fruit Bowl. So that's what he called it.
Yeah.
So we talked, and this Katrina refugee had no cups with it. And it's my theory that everybody took one of Grandma's cups as a souvenir, and then they sold the punch bowl. We went to a convention with it very closely after getting it. And I asked just like this, anybody have any white cups? And before we got home, I had all I needed. Which I think is nice. That's another good story.
That is a good story.
Yeah, it is. The Marigold Master ice cream, it has no bee, no beads, star base, so it's a master peacock. It has a funny kind of a thing. We got it kind of strangely, I guess. It was in another little country auction, and there was this old guy I'd seen lots of times at those little country auctions, you know, and he knew more than anybody, you know, and he had his Edwards book in his hand, and he was arguing with the auctioneer. That bowl is like 9 1/8 wide. That bowl cannot be a master. It has to be 10 inches. And he argued with that auctioneer till they got the auctioneer so mad and confused and upset, and he just said, with it, and let it go, and we got it as a result, because that man wouldn't buy it then. So,
Wow.
now then,
Go ahead.
I think I'll say something. Back to
Something.
the story that I started to tell. The green, thin rib jardiniere,
That's beautiful.
it's Northwood. Again, that's why I started it. We got off the road. We stopped at the truck,
The rest stop.
The rest stop, thank you. And they talked to us and picked up a few brochures, and we just started wandering around the water and ended up in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And it was one of those antique stores, you know how they knock a hole in the wall and attach it to the next building and the next building, and that's what this was. And so we wandered and wandered and wandered, and coming back through, I walked between.
The first room had no carnival glass in it at all, and the second one, we saw a few tumblers that we had, and they apparently had been in a barn or something, because they could have had dirt dobblers on them. They were so dirty. And in the other room, there were none. And we started walking back. And as we were walking back, Diane was in front of me, because I'm always nice to let her go first. She was walking in front of me, and when we got through that middle building, there was a window over here.
And it was a little narrow space.
And we had walked by a whole table full of stuff for Mardi Gras, all kinds of everything that you could think of. And we were walking along there, and she walked in front of this table, and when she stepped away, I could see something green, about like a quarter.
The light came, I kind of broke the light coming in that window, and he could just a
So
little.
I stopped. And I'm going over there, and then I look, and she's gone. And I backed up, and I could see her going out the front door, and she turned around and saw that I wasn't with her. And so I waved her back, and that was sitting there, and it had beads hanging out of it. And when we got most of the beads out, there was a candle about this tall
In a holder.
in a glass holder sitting in the bottom of that thing, and they put those beads in.
It was totally covered up except for that little tiny piece that he saw. And when he got all of that out, that's what we found. Wow. And then he had the audacity to ask for a discount.
And they gave me a third off.
Third off.
$50.
You got it for 50? Oh my.
I hate to talk money, but I thought that's a pretty good deal.
No, that's a good. Wow, and it's beautiful.
Do any of you all remember the Hartung books?
Yes.
Do you remember that Ed Guida did most of the drawings for Mrs. Hartung? Well, the Guidas were from Victoria, Texas, which is close to where we live, and everybody kept asking us when we got in clubs, do you know the Guidas? Have you seen the Guidas? Blah, 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 over and they'll know. And do you know the story that Mrs. Hartung was tied up, you remember, and robbed, and it scared the Guidas so much that they became reclusive. They did not go to, and he had been president of ICGA at some point. Anyway, they just dropped out of sight, and they didn't let people come to their home. They didn't participate anymore at all. And I had
A mammogram.
Yeah, it was my time to go get my mammogram. And we were sitting on, they called you up, and I had already seen this little lady sitting there, but she just I was attracted to. She had a purple velour pantsuit and a little hat on, and but anyway, I had already gone back, and they called Mrs. Guida's name because she hadn't filled out something yet. And Sylvester jumps up.
I walked over to her and I said, "Are you the guy that used to collect carnival glass?" And she said, "Yes." And we got to talking, and she kept talking and talking. And the week before, we had been to the Texas Carnival Glass Convention, and she started asking about some of the people, are they still, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And I said, we just had the convention, but next year, if you'd like to go, we can come pick you up and take you to the convention. And she said, yeah. And then I said, could we come by your house and see what you still have left in your house? And she said yes, and she gave me her phone number and her address, but she asked not to tell anybody else. And when we got there,
Well, first we had a phone call from my son. Who are you all? What are you? But, you know, she hadn't reconciled with the fact that we were okay. I guess because I was getting a mammogram. I guess I did.
but we got to her house and we asked, could we take pictures? You know, we got her permission to do that, but she said not to give them to anyone. She took us.
Print them and not to be made public, you know.
She took us into the kitchen and she had a whole wall there just for tumblers from ceiling to floor, and she said, my husband had a tumbler all the way across. He had all these tumblers, and up in the attic was the other 5 tumblers and the pitcher. And they had sold.
They had to sell when he passed away. It was when the inheritance tax was still, and then had to sell in order to pay that.
And so she showed us a few pieces that she still had, and I took a picture with the hearts and flowers.
No.
Not. Right?
Yes. It's
And then the heart.
Cambridge Sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
Sweetheart, cracker jar.
It has what looks like a flower, but whatever that is.
Is that from their collection?
It's from their collection. We got to handle it. We got a picture of ourselves with it. Then whenever she had passed away and the auction came, we got it from them.
We did go to an auction and buy it. And we bought another piece at that
But
auction.
we treasure that experience with her,
Brian,
you know.
our auction, our aqua opal, good luck bowl, pastel aqua opal is from their collection.
Okay.
Is that right?
There's a
Okay.
guide a piece. Of
Okay.
that on.
Cool.
Yeah.
We also have a spittoon, a hobnail swirl spittoon that was
Yeah.
hers. And she had a whole, almost that big of a frame that had beaded purses all in it. We had, and it was just a wonderful experience, we treasure that. A little bit later on, back home in Oklahoma, I have a cousin whose husband I've kind of indoctrinated into carnival glass collecting, and he was still, you know, unsure, but we were in an antique store, and he said, come here, tell me if this is carnival glass. And it was these amber 6-sided candlesticks. I said, yes, they're carnival glass, you know. And we were able to get those and went to the auction in the TCGC auction the next day and confirmed they are amber, which is a hard color.
It is a hard
Yeah.
$18. Isn't that fun?
Wow. Dan.
We had an article in one of the newsletters, or maybe it was, I don't remember where I read it, about the Woodsland vase. I had never heard of that or seen that before. But we were in Bostic's barn in Bay City, and he collects
Everything.
He everything that's left over. You know, he has a barn of stuff. And I saw this little thing, and it's not the prettiest color in the world, but I had never seen a Woodsland vase, and that's what that is.
What was it?
Woodsland
Oh, Woodland.
by Dugan.
Okay.
He wasn't too careful about it. It was $8.66. And, oh yeah, those of you who were here and went to a quarterly meeting know this story already. This lime green hearts and flowers plate, saw it on estatesales.com online, went to over there, but we were not the first batch they left in. Well, you know, there were just so many could go in. But I knew where it ought to be because I, found the dining room picture or whatever. And I walked in there and this lady was standing right in front of it, but she was holding something else. So I just went, went right by her and got that plate right in front of her. $10.
$10.
Yeah, and thanks to the club, because I thought it was ice cream, and you all told me that it was lime green. So I appreciate your help with that. Oh yeah, where did David go? 'Cause I was supposed well, there you are. The white wisteria tumbler, David. David walked by it apparently because it was hidden in that second room with all the furniture and junk and whatever.
That's
It
a
was
Rosenberg show.
Yeah.
in the middle of milk glass is where it was sitting.
Oh,
And so Sylvester found that.
well, that's a great thought.
And let's see. Oh yeah, sometimes it pays to be nice. This peach opal flowers and frames by Dugan, triangular. We gave a program for the Methodist church ladies, and went into the spiel about stuff. And next day or two, I had a phone call, and the woman was in her car talking to her son, going to Fort Worth, as a matter of fact. And she said, her son said, "Oh, what have you been doing?" And she says, "Well, I heard this talk on Carnival Glass." And he said, "Well, I'm in an estate sale and I'm looking at Carnival Glass." And she said, "Buy me a piece." And she brought it to and gave it to us for doing our call.
Oh,
And look at the back.
Look at how much opal's on it.
yeah,
Isn't that pretty?
it's beautiful.
And another estate sale. We were the third person in line for this one, so we didn't get the greeny perm. But we did come home with a toothpick holder and a St. Clair picture frame and a iridized Hobstar cookie jar.
Oh,
Marigolds.
yeah.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
That particular piece belonged to Edward and Florence Jacobs, and they were former ICGA members. Some of you may remember that name. But now we get to enjoy it. So, and our very last in the wild piece that we found, most recent one, on the second day of 2026, we just needed to get out of the house. Do you ever feel like that? Well, that meant going looking for glass, of course. So, and in a very, very common antique mall that we've been through, and you see the same thing over and over and over. Well, there that particular green thistle plate sat.
Oh,
And the bowls are much more predominant, I think.
yeah.
The plate's not quite so much, I don't believe. But anyway, it was a common stomping ground, but a very uncommon plate, I think. And it's a good thing to go wild sometime, And I want to thank all of you all.
Did you talk about this good luck?
Oh, I forgot the good luck. How can I forget that? Luling, Texas, an old theater. They converted into where they had booths, for antique stuff. And when we walked in the door, the proprietor lady was sitting at the front. She had books all around her, and she was trying to figure out what she had. And she had been called to subsidized housing location. The son had put his mother into the nursing home. He had gone through the house. There was a pile of trash, and that bowl was sitting on top of the pile.
I tell you, it's just something else.
And she didn't know what she had. And so I took it off of her hands.
Actually, I gave her a number and she said, write a check.
And I did, and about that time as I was finishing writing the check, here come her husband saying, "I didn't think you were going to sell that." And I said, "Shut up, man, shut up." But I forgot that one, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
So, thanks for this opportunity. I'm sorry I'm scared about doing this, but
No, you
I
did great.
wanted you all to know that we enjoy the glass, and it's a wild and wonderful day.
So Diane, we know you have a couple more pieces at home.
Oh, Lord,
We've
yes.
been to your house and we have waded through the corners trying not to hit the glass.
I know.
What would you say is the percentage of glass that you have found all by yourself without going through, I mean, 50% of it, 60% of your glass has a wild story to it?
Well, everything from the time we were married until 2000, we're coming up on 60 years married, we found in the wild.
Wow.
Easily more than
35
half.
years.
Oh, more than half.
Easily more than half.
More than half.
Yeah.
Glass has been found.
And I'll admit, there's lots of it you all wouldn't have or throw it in the trash, but that's all we could find at the time.
No,
You know?
we've seen
You don't have much you could throw
we've
in
seen
the
some
trash.
great glass.
So that's our story, and
Oh,
You just have
very
an index
good.
card for every piece.
I have all of the inventory.
Inventory, I love it.
I don't
And now for something completely different. This is all stretch glass. We started with Carnival, eventually moved into some stretch and still have some Carnival, but mostly stretch now. And these are pieces that I would say are a little bit harder to find. There's nothing in here that's a one of a kind or anything like that, but they're just maybe harder than some of the other pieces. We'll start with Fenton's Ring Optic, which is one of my favorite patterns. This row right here. Probably what you see more often is the bowl. It's just a flared bowl. Sandy has a really nice one in the auction that's prettier than this one, I think. This is the large size. It comes in 2 mold sizes. The small one has a base of about 3 1/8 inches, and the large one has a base of about 3 5/8 inches. So it's not a big difference, but this is the large one, large mold vase. This is the small mold vase. In the vases, probably the small ones are harder to find than the big ones, but you don't see a lot of either one of them. This would be Fenton's Aquamarine. This is Tangerine. The other thing that's unusual about the Aquamarine is it has a crimped top. Stretch people say that's crimped. Carnival people, of course, say that's ruffled. But most of the tops are more oval like this, so the top is unusual on that one. Same mold. This is a flower pot. The difference is it's got a hole in the bottom. And it's a rough hole. They just poked a hole in the bottom. And so that vase would have come out of a mold, probably something similar to this, then it got swung into the vase. And there are saucers that go with the flower pots. Actually, I think I've seen more saucers than I have flower pots. This is the large flower pot. Again, it's got a hole. And they're almost always just this more or less upright version.
What do they call that color, Pat?
That's Velva Rose. That's their pink, but it's Velva Rose. Those do come in other colors, but much scarcer than apparently Tangerine and Velva Rose. These look like the same thing, but they're not. That's a different mold. This is Fenton's 5 Rings bowl. And when you see them, they're not too common. You usually see them in the ruffled or crimped version. To find one in ice cream shape is scarcer than this one. This one is also happens to have been in the Fenton Museum. It's got numbers, letters and numbers on the bottom, and you'll see that written in white. So when Fenton closed, they sold off everything that was in the museum. So those pieces are bubbling around in the world. Let's just go to the top. Fenton, this color is Fenton's Wisteria with an A, as opposed to Wisteria, which is what everybody else uses. Rose bowls are hard to find. This is their melon rib pattern that's been pulled tightly up into a rose bowl. You'll see it in just all sorts of kind of bowls. The candlestick is the cut ovals, which is a hard candlestick to find. There's a beautiful topaz cut ovals candlestick in the auction. The dolphins, large compote, they'll sometimes say comport as well. That's the lighter, almost lavender version of wisteria. So that's unusual. The color, lighter color is unusual. The fact that it's dolphins in that color is unusual. There are seems to be very few dolphins made in that color. This is also a dolphin's piece. This is a butterball tray. Really nice stretch effect. As strange as it seems, Celeste blue is very common, but there are very few dolphins in Celeste blue of any sort, any shape. I have one fan vase at home in Celeste blue. Those are the only 2 dolphins I have in that color. So again, a hard color for that pattern. The large blue vase is Fenton's number 891. It comes in a lot of the Fenton colors. This is royal blue, which is a hard color to find in that vase, or actually any shape, that color is harder to find. Some small things, teacups are hard to find in stretch, as are punch cups. These are old punch cups. You'll see some red, ruby red contemporary cups, punch cups, but there are not many punch cups in any color apparently. This would be Fenton's Florentine green, is their green color. This is a little Fenton juice tumbler. There are a number of pitchers with tumblers. This is the smallest juice tumbler I've seen, so I think the smaller ones are a little bit harder.
Those cups have saucers?
Yes, I have saucers. I have a saucer for this. Actually, this a set of these, like 6 cups and saucers, came off eBay from somebody in Texas. A sherbet in ruby. Hard to see, very dark. Fenton's ruby is typically dark. These are super common in like Celeste blue and pink and whatnot. There apparently are very few red ones. This is a puff jar that has a quilted optic pattern in it. And no lid now. Is everybody awake now?
That even gave you a little.
Don't do the same thing.
This form is harder to find in Fenton. It's a Fenton. It's also a candy jar. The other thing that's unusual about this one is, in addition to the museum at the Fenton plant, they had a room called Frank's Closet. Frank Fenton would store stuff away. This one's got a Frank's Closet sticker on the lid, so you can see. I think these lids got broken a lot. Actually, this has got a Fenton Museum number in the top too. Because these just sit on top, a lot of those got lost. So you'll see the bottom, but you won't see the tops that much.
It's on the outside rather than to the inside. Is that right? It sits outside?
Yeah, it's outside.
Yeah.
Sits. Let's go. Bud vases. We like bud vases, and This form would be Fenton's number 251 bud vase. It comes in all the Fenton colors. That's the standard form and shape. This one also has a Fenton Museum number on the bottom. Now, I don't know, Frank just decided to pick a nice example, which has a lot of stretch to it, I guess, to go in the museum. This is the same thing, except they did a Jack in the Pulpit top. And this is the same thing in tangerine, but it's actually tangerine opal. You can see the opal at the top. This one wobbles a little bit, so the base is not. This is probably the hardest color to find. Tangerine just by itself is hard, but tangerine opal is even harder. This is also a little, their little 99 bud vase. These two Velvet Rose bud vases kind of show you the difference between contemporary. They came back in 1980 and made some more Velvet Rose. This is an old one. This is their number 354 bud vase. This is a contemporary one made in 1980. And it kind of demonstrates the difference in old glass and new glass. The old glass is much thinner. So I don't think these were not made to be identical, but you can see this is a much thicker, heavier piece of glass, and this is much thinner. But you could easily walk by this one thinking it was this contemporary one in a shop. And there are a number of these around. This one you hardly ever see. Northwood Emerald Green. The color is hard to find. It comes in a variety of shapes. They make some pieces that are called Tree of Life pieces, which have little hexagon bases with some little markings that look like trees on them. You see those occasionally in this color, but it's just a difficult color to find. Fenton smooth panels. I guess Carnival and Stretch people claim this pattern. These came out of the same mold. This is the 3.5 inch mold. The Jardiniere is much tougher to find than the vases. And these come in all sizes. And there's about at least four base sizes you can find these in.
It's got a Vaseline base.
Well, it's got a little amberina in the base. Yeah, it does.
Wasn't struck well.
What did I miss?
The pink bowl, console bowl.
These two pieces are contemporary pieces.
Really?
This is an experimental piece of rosaline, Fenton rosaline. It's very stretchy on the edges. It's a little bit lighter pink than the traditional rosaline. They made a few pieces and they sold them in the Fenton store apparently. And I'm told that the old rosaline Fenton collectors hate these pieces because of the color is just not the same as their rosaline. But I think it's really cool. And this actually came with a flower frog and a nymph in the center of it that were not old, they were contemporary, made by one of the Fenton clubs. This is believed to be experimental. It looks like wisteria, but it's actually Fenton's contemporary aubergine color. I thought it was just cool because I like dolphins. And if you look really, really hard, there is a Fenton mark down in the center of that base. Is that it? I believe that's it.
The candlestick? Or what, up on the top shelf?
Yeah, he did it. He did it.
He did?
The candlestick is cut ovals, Fenton wisteria.
I asked you about the bud vase with the jack in the pulpit. Is that pretty rare to find that top?
These are not, I wouldn't call them rare, but they're uncommon. And they do come in the other colors too.
Which one?
The 251. It's actually the same vase. They just formed the jack in the pulpit top on it. And they'll come in, because they're swung, these will come in different sizes. They can be almost from there to here, a little bit taller and shorter. I think I have two aquamarine versions at home that are like 4 inches different. So it's quite a variety, and it's interesting that Fenton, that the stretch glass was made, and they use the same mold to make different things. So that's it. Thank you.